Hello. Hello, everyone. Give me a second to pin this comment, and we will get started. How are y'all doing? Yes, we have both our guests here, and I see their requests, and we'll bring them up one by one. And thank you for being here. I'm excited to talk to you both. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Thank y'all so much for joining and for your patience. Okay. This comment is too long. So, if someone would advise me as to what you all would rather have, the free HIV STI testing information as the pinned comment or the opening times for the corner, because it won't let me put the whole thing. I'm gonna just go with the corner since this is what we're here for today, and then we'll get started. Thank you. It's a filter. I'll show you next time we're in the office together how to put filters on your Instagram. Okay, again, thank y'all so much for joining. For those of y'all who do not know, my name is Soul. I am one of the social media influencers for Whitman-Walker and the community health team. But I am also an art educator and community liaison for Whitman-Walker's new cultural center, the Corner DC. And my pronouns are she, her, hers, or they, them. The Corner at Whitman-Walker is an exciting new cultural center in Washington, D.C. Its physical space at one time was the lobby of the Whitman-Walker Clinic, which served LGBTQ community members who needed a space to receive stigma-free care and treatment, and in some cases facing their own death due to HIV. Now the space has been transformed to bring different ideas of culture and diverse communities into contact with one another. Its inaugural exhibition, entitled See You There, Making History at Whitman-Walker, focuses on Whitman-Walker Health's commitment to HIV care and LGBTQ health. It just opened this past weekend, and to tell us more about the exhibition, we're bringing on two special guests. They're special to me. First, we have Jules, Director of Communications at Whitman-Walker, who played a really key role in developing this exhibition. So I will bring her up first. Hello,
Hi,
hello.
how's it going, Soul?
Going well. How are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me okay? I'm always like, does that echoey thing that happens?
No, it's good.
Cool, cool. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, is there anything you'd like to say before we get into these questions?
Just glad to be here. It's cool to be on this from a different platform. Usually I'm in the comment section commenting, so nice to join one of our influencers on here.
Yes, yes. Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about the oral history project that you led and what that project accomplished?
Yeah, so in 2017, Whitman-Walker received its first oral history grant from the DC Oral History Collaborative. They're part of kind of the, I think, like historical society in DC and like DC Arts and Humanities, and so they basically trained a cohort of people to collect oral histories. So these are like 1 to 2 hour recordings of people's life stories from birth to present day on like one common theme and topic. So Whitman-Walker applied to record and collect oral histories that focused on HIV, Washington, D.C., and Whitman-Walker. So we did that in 2017, and we did it again in 2019. And, because the training was so good, we did some in 2018 as well. And so then the whole purpose of that was just to really collect and preserve firsthand accounts of people's experiences around HIV and just hear from their voices and how they remembered kind of how that public health epidemic played out in DC. And it was
Great.
also part of our 40th anniversary at the time. So we were preparing to celebrate 40 years of service to community.
Amazing. Is there somewhere people can listen to the Oral History Project?
Yes, you can go on Whitman-Walker's SoundCloud. So if you just go to soundcloud.com and type in Whitman-Walker, our oral histories will pop up. You can also access them through the DC Public Library. And if you visit our website, we've done some kind of multimedia story campaigns called 40 Stories for 40 Years, again, to honor our 40th anniversary in 2018. So you can kind of hear a mixed combination of oral histories and video stories and written texts and articles that kind of cover Whitman-Walker's story throughout the years. And that's at whitman-walker.org/stories.
Cool. Definitely go check that out, everyone. The oral histories are really amazing to listen to. How did the Oral History Project lead into the See You There exhibition?
So this year, again, the DC Oral History Collaborative, so many thanks to them. They had another grant opportunity, but this time it was to help folks who already had collections of oral histories kind of get more people to engage with them and kind of get more of the community aware that they existed and kind of just help them listen to them and access them. So through this project, and I know that Ruth will talk a little bit more about this and kind of the essence of the space of the corner. But that space is such holy ground. It used to be our healthcare facility from the early 90s to 2015. We saw a lot of people in that space providing HIV care and kind of just whole person healthcare at what used to be the Elizabeth Taylor Medical Center, but is now the corner. And so during that time period, we actually kind of stopped helping people die with dignity from AIDS-related complications and started helping them live. Because in 1996 is when the first kind of HIV treatments began to work. So with wanting to help people engage with this oral history collection and honor that space and recognize that we had this new amazing cultural center to do so, it was really important that we kind of married the two projects and kind of introed the world of the corner with this history of Whitman-Walker and history of DC through the oral history collection.
And how do you think that worked out, and what excites you most about this exhibition?
I think it worked out really well. I think art's always a really powerful vehicle for storytelling and for engaging people and making sure that they can kind of almost piece together their own story from what they're seeing and experiencing. And I think one of my favorite parts about it is that there's all this historical photography from folks like Jeb, also known as Joni Byron, and Sharon Farmer and Lee Mosley, where they've captured or preserved images of different protests throughout the years. in DC that were largely marches for LGBTQ rights. And so you're seeing those photos, but you're also seeing artwork produced by mostly queer identified artists. And there's just this really beautiful juxtaposition of, because you all, got up, got out, and stood up for rights for being treated like a human being, having access to healthcare and whatnot, folks were able to, be in this space today and be afforded more rights. And it's kind of like this, because you did, we can be present here and show off our skills and creativity in this space. So that's probably one of my favorite parts.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything else you would like to say about the Oral History Project or the exhibition before we get Ruth on here?
Just come check out the show. It's really beautiful and encourages a lot of kind of intergenerational learning and experiencing. And Sol was part of the project from the beginning, so she can talk about it a bit too. But other than that, I'm going to say hi to all the folks in the room, all my colleagues and former colleagues. Thank you all for tuning in.
Yes. Yeah. So thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Bye. So next up, we're going to talk to Ruth Nowak, our Executive Director and Curator of The Corner at Whitman-Walker. She's had a long career as an internationally recognized curator and art historian, and we're really excited that she's bringing all this experience to Washington, and it's been a really great experience to work with and learn from her. So if you all have any questions for Ruth, please feel free to ask in the comments so that she can answer them in real time. Let's see, let me read the comments while we wait. Oh no. Okay, let me try again. Coffee Press said these are some really amazing stories. Thanks for capturing them. Lee gave some thumbs ups and said thanks for all you do, Jules. Okay. Hi, Ruth.
Hi. Great. It kept breaking up, but no, I think it's fine.
Yeah, so welcome. How are you feeling?
Hi, so nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too. Do you want to say anything else about yourself before we get into these questions?
I have no idea what you said because I was breaking up, but it doesn't really matter. I'm here. That's the most important thing. I'm here and really happy to be here in DC and doing this project, The Corner, for Whitman-Walker.
Yeah, okay. So the first question we want to ask you is, what made you decide to come to Whitman-Walker and become the founding executive director and curator of The Corner? And in addition to that question, I want to add Coffee Press's question. What has been your favorite thing about joining Whitman-Walker Health?
Okay. All right. I love that. Well, I was invited to come. That's always kind of important, when you're not just searching for something, but someone calls you up and says, we really want to have you here. It was a big step to move over to another country, leave my family and my lover behind. But what really got me excited is to build something from scratch, to build something from the ground up, and to build something that seems really worthwhile because it's really concrete. It's concretely trying culture and communities, and that is just something that seems so valuable to me. And to bring my expertise from art practice into community practice is something that I think is worthwhile, because art on its own. I love art, but it's just can get very lonely somehow because it doesn't really connect so much to real people. So this ability to meet people and while I'm doing my job is wonderful. And what excites me most, or what was the best thing that happened to me, is actually you and Paula, the people on the team. That it's just every day I have the feeling, oh, what a wonderful team, and how nice to be able to learn with these people and to learn from them too, to work with them and to learn from them. And to learn
yeah, the feeling is definitely mutual, Ruth. For those of you who don't know, Ruth is originally from Germany and has done a lot of work in Europe with art and was part of Documenta 12 and was a really integral part in curating that exhibition. So how did you take Jules' oral history project and transform it into the current physical exhibition? And how does it differ from the exhibition? Yeah. How does it differ from the project? Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I didn't take anything like take. That's the wrong word for me, because basically I reacted upon an invitation, and that invitation came from Jules. And that was really important because I admire her so much. So again, you know, this invitation was to think together on how we can bring the oral history project to other people, maybe more diverse people, or to bring it into the present, you know, so that it's not just on the website of Whitman-Walker or on the DC Oral History where people might stumble upon it, but might also only stumble upon it because they're seeking it out. And so this invitation to think together was really precious. And so that's from that the exhibition was developed. And then we had this idea that instead of just bringing together what we think is important, is to ask lots of other people to think of what they think is important, and to do that in a workshop model. So we had all these small workshops planned, and then COVID hit, and so we only could do a few of them, or we had to change some of them into other formats, to really get to ask people in community. So how do they want to hear this story, and how are they part of this story? And a good example is the workshop actually you and Paula and Dwayne Lawson Brown did with Wanda Olson Foundation, where you engaged with young residents of the foundation and let them listen to the archive and showed them the pictures and so on. And then, as far as I understood, they were mostly interested in writing themselves into this story. So now you see in the exhibition their stories on the wall, right? Now they're honored and being listened to and given voice to, and they have strong voices. So I think it's not that much of a difference. It's just another medium. So an exhibition is another medium than, let's say, a website with oral history. So it's maybe more attractive to people who react to the physical object, to something that they can see and don't just have to intellectually digest. So in that way, it's different. But I see the exhibition as part of the archives, and I see the exhibition as part of the Whitman-Walker endeavor to tell its story.
Yes. In your curation, the exhibition has elements of the past, the present, and the future. Why was it important for you to encompass all three of those and not just the past?
Because often when we encapsulate the past into this kind of form where it's always the same people who tell the story, and they tell it in the same way, then we close ourselves off from potential interaction with people. And so the ambition to bring it into the present by asking artists to look at it, you know, that actually means people who might not otherwise look at the archive, and they engage with it and they react to it. That also helps people who come, visitors, to find another form of access to it. So the present, the asking artists to make new works, create new works that are not necessarily literally about Whitman-Walker, is a way to open up to another way of telling the story, and hopefully opening this up for others to join in to tell the story. And then the future is really important, because again, we're a growing and changing, amazing institution that's really with one foot in the past, and when we have 3 feet with one in the present, but also always, you know, trying to evolve and to become the institution that community needs. And that's, you know, that's always a work in progress. And so we need to think of ourselves as part of the future as well. We can't just say, oh, we did this fabulous work on AIDS so early on and we're so important. We also have to think, what does community need next year, the year after, and in the future?
So what do you want viewers to take away from the current exhibition, and what do you want them to know?
There's a lot. I do want them to understand a bit of the history, but I also want them to understand a bit of the context of Whitman-Walker within DC, because we have work in the show that was already mentioned by Sharon Farmer and by Lee Mosley and Jeb, that is kind of telling a bit of a different story than just the Whitman-Walker story, you know, and we have some allusion to Women in the Life, this amazing magazine, and that also shows that there was this amazing club scene for Black lesbians in the city that's gone because of gentrification. And so we do want to honor those Black lesbian stories a bit, you know, but then without making them part of Whitman-Walker. It's more about saying, okay, this is all needs to come together, and this all existed together, and we need to kind of support each other constantly and remember each other and not just ourselves. And so I think that's something very important for me to take, for people to take away. And then I want them to understand that art can be maybe something that is accessible and not just for a privileged few. Even art that is maybe not so immediately understandable can be accessible. And I think we are managing to do that in this exhibition. And that's what I'm most proud of.
There's a question here from Coffee Press. They said, what steps did you take to ensure that the depth of those personal stories were not lost in the process of curating the show?
The depth of the stories, well, I think the depth is, you're always gonna, whenever you're telling a story, you're leaving things out. So not one exhibition can ever tell the depth of the story in the way that it should be. So I think it's more about allowing people and inspiring people to maybe also go out on their own and start finding out some things, and allowing them enough room so that they understand that stories are always kind of told from some perspectives, and there's always also other perspectives possible. So when I tell a story, I do want to have a point. So in this case, the Black lesbian context was really important to me personally, but I can't fully tell that story at all. Who am I to tell that story? So all I can do is be humble and put something out there, and then hope that it's open enough and transparent enough and inspiring enough for others to join in.
Yeah, I think that's the beautiful part about this exhibition, and it showed through the opening weekend, was that people came in and had more to add as far as stories to the exhibition. And even when Barbara Lewis came in and was talking to us about, you know, some of like the picture that Jeb took of her and the photos of her on the bus ads that we displayed, there was more context and more stories that she had to share, which I thought was really beautiful. And even Katya from from WPFW. She had a lot to say about women in the life and the type of parties that what Black lesbian life and culture was like in the city. And it made me so envious that I wasn't around to really witness and take part in that. But yeah, I think the exhibition tells a story, but also allows for other people to input their own personal histories. And I think that was part of your goal, and I think you really achieved that. Is there anything else that you would like to say?
Well, I do want to say that there's a website that also gives a bit more depth. So because we commissioned some or asked some people to write for us. So they're writing about some of the works and some of the artifacts there. So that is, I think, really important. And then Jules is going to be organizing a panel actually with about Black lesbian history in DC, and I think that there will be more formats and event formats to open this up, to start to hear more, because there's so much wealth in this city that is just not heard, or and I want to know more. I want to know more from these photographers about what they know about their pictures and who's on there. And you're right, at the opening weekend already people came in that I didn't know and who had things to tell about these works, and it was beautiful. And I hope that we can continue that and continue to add more wealth and depth to what we're saying there. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ruth. Coffee Press said, welcome to Whitman-Walker, and thank you, Ruth. If anybody has any final questions, feel free to send them. If not, you can also follow the Corner DC at the Corner DC. You can come and check out the exhibition Thursdays and Fridays from 2 to 7, and Saturdays and Sundays from 12 to 5, and talk to Paula and I and Ruth about any other questions that you might have. And also, please visit the website to read the text and to listen to the oral histories and to see a few pictures of what is housed in the exhibition.
Yeah, and I hope, I mean, at some point COVID will be over, but we are already trying our best to keep this space open as much as possible in a safe way, because we think that gathering space is important. So I hope to see all of you in person at some point or other.
Yes. All right. Talk to you later, Ruth.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you all so much for joining and listening in on our conversation. I just want to remind you all that Whitman-Walker Health is open for free HIV and STI testing by appointment at our Liz location in Northwest DC and our Max Robinson Center location in Southeast DC. To make an appointment, you can call 202-797-4439. We also want to remind you to continue to keep social distancing. It's a really good way to reduce the amount of COVID-19 community transmission. It deliberately increases the physical space between people to avoid spreading the illness. And especially around the holidays where many people are used to traveling, we want to make sure that you are staying at least 6 feet away from people when possible. You're wearing a mask in public, and also in places outside of your household, not just in public and other people's houses as well. Avoiding places with large crowds, encouraging work from home if possible, speaking with loved ones over the phone, on FaceTime instead of in person. Social distancing is a way to care for your community. I want you to stay up to date on the local, state, and national guidelines for testing, quarantine, and general safety. Make sure you're washing your hands for at least 20 seconds at a time and staying home. If you do not feel well, if you do come to the Corner DC, we have masks available. If you don't have them, we have contact tracing. We have arrows to make sure that you all are social distancing. We also give some really amazing guided tours. Paula and I will say that. And when Ruth is there, she does give her curatorial tours as well. And all of that being said, thank y'all so much again for joining us. We hope to see you soon, or to see you there at the corner. And follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and IG at Whitman-Walker and at Real Talk DC _ to stay up to date with all things Whitman-Walker Health. And again, you can follow the Corner's Instagram page at The Corner DC, and visit the website at www.thecornerdc.org. See y'all there. Bye.